What's good, everybody? I wanted to do a video on tips on how to deal with difficult passengers. Last night, I had some passengers who were intoxicated. They were young, they were enjoying the nightlife, and they were just partying, having fun. So I thought, you know what, this would be a good video to do some tips so that you can use the tips and how to deal with them and also maybe get yourself out of a situation. So remember that we were all young once, so try to go back to those times when you were young and you were having fun, and just go along with it. If they're just having fun, just adapt to the situation, and don't be a jerk about it. But the first thing I wanted to start off with, the first tip is, before a passenger gets in your car and you're working at night and you may be working around the clubs or the lounges, you or bars, you want to assess the person and see, on a scale from 1 to 10, how intoxicated are they. If they can barely speak or if they can barely walk, chances are they're probably on an 11, and you don't want to pick those passengers up. Now, good thing is that TLC, which is the Taxi and Limousine Commission, they allow you to deny passengers who are too drunk. So make sure that you know the rules. Make sure that when you're playing the game, you have to know the rules. So study and know the law and the rules. Taxi and Limousine Commission is what TLC stands for, which is the department that regulates all the rules for taxis and cabs in New York City. So first thing, assess to see whether, on a scale of 1 to 10, if they're higher than a 10, do not pick them up. Also, make sure that you keep one of these or a few of these actually in your car. If you cannot tell how intoxicated a person is and they're ready to throw up, just pass them one of those. And if a passenger asks you to pull over, just pull over. Don't say, oh, or don't ask, oh, why do you want me to pull over? And by the time you're asking them questions, they're throwing up in your car. So it could be for any reason that they're asking you to pull over. So just pull over and then see what's going on. Another thing is, if you're picking up a passenger who or passengers and they're very excited and they're having fun and they're very distracting, you want to just tell them in a nice way. You want to say, hey guys, remember I'm driving and I just want to make sure you're safe, and keep it very light. A lot of times they're going to be like, all right, cool, my bad, we're drunk. And you'd be surprised, also many times they're good tippers. So keep that in mind to maintain your professionalism. And you want to maintain an energy level of about 5 or 6. Don't go on a 10 with them, especially going on to the next topic, if you're dealing with an aggressive passenger. So when you're dealing with intoxicated passengers in general, they're going to be excited many times. They're going to be having fun. At least they think they're having fun, but to the driver, it may not necessarily be fun. They may start touching you, and because they're so excited, and they might start messing with your radio without asking. So expect all of these things to happen. So that's why TLC allows you to deny these passengers who are overly intoxicated, because it can be a hazard. Imagine that you're driving and they start touching you and they're making a lot of noise, they're very loud, and you can't hear things or you can't see things. You might hit something or you might get into an accident. So when it comes to a passenger that's overly aggressive, which hasn't really happened to me, but I have had passengers where they were a bit aggressive. And my best advice to you is that keep in mind that communication is like a dance. If you meet the aggressiveness head on and they're on a 10 and you're on a 10, it's just going to keep it going and it's going to cause a conflict. But if you maintain a 5 or 6 energy level and you're able to maybe make a joke and keep it light and just have a conversation with them, many times you're able to turn it around, and that's what you want to do. Use your strong communication skills. You want to strengthen and work on those communication skills so that way you can turn situations around from a negative to a positive. So that is very key. And being able to de-escalate a situation. And again, with those aggressive or those aggressive drunks. Uh, a lot of times too, they'll just realize, hey, I'm sorry, I'm drunk, and also you'd be surprised many times they are also good tippers. So that's why it's important to maintain professionalism at all times, because ultimately at the end you will win. So I addressed maintaining your professionalism. I spoke about being able to assess the passenger before they get in your car to determine how intoxicated they are. I mentioned to keep some of these in your car so that way you can just pass it to the passengers, pull over if they want you to pull over, and that way you can make sure that if they're going to vomit, they vomit outside of your car. Stay alert at all times, stay focused, be polite, try to have fun with it, be adaptable to the situation. Bruce Lee said it best: you can be like water, be like water. Water is hard, it's like ice, it's fluid, it's liquid, and it's also vapor. So, in other words, adapt to the situation. I've had situations where I picked up a passenger and um, she seemed okay. Next thing you know, 10 minutes later, she passed out in the back. I had to take her home, but first I had to stop, get a female coworker to help me out to wake her up. This is when I was working for another cab service. So she woke her up. I took her home, and she was still living with her parents. She was somewhat young, and the father had to come out, literally carry her inside. It took about an hour and a half. So learn from my mistakes. You don't want to spend an hour and a half dealing with that situation, and then you're going to be losing money. So um, learn from that, learn from my mistakes, and learn from these tips, and ultimately you will do fine. Picking up intoxicated passengers, it can get very annoying. However, uh, for the chances of it being a negative situation are actually very slim. And as long as you're cool, you stay cool, then the situation for the most part is going to be cool, and you're going to drop them off, and that'll be it. You're moving on to the next passenger. So those are the tips that I have for you. Hopefully you can utilize them and you'll be able to enjoy the ride, or maybe turn around a situation. And until the next video, make a lot of money. Stay blessed. All right. Peace.